Your niece Susan Venker?
Right.
We've had her on twice. She is a great guest and she's got your kind of head on her shoulders.
Well, that's great.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about the immigration reform bill, the so-called Gang of Eight. They threw out their 844-page. I'm reading all kinds of things, that there are free cell phones in the bill, a ban on racial profiling in the bill, and I guess it's kind of the thing where, like Nancy Pelosi once famously said about another fiasco, you kind of have to pass it to find out what's in it.
That's right, and of course they developed it in secret after talking a lot of stuff about transparency. They didn't believe in it, and it has a lot of bad things. But the shocking part came out today in the Washington Post, that they gave Facebook a special deal. They gave them, they enabled them to work around the H-1B guest worker limit by a ruse of pretending that they're filing for a green card, and then they can go ahead and exceed the limit. And they also gave them a pass on having to make a good faith effort to hire Americans first. So this kind of sneaky, underhanded deal for one group that has some expert lobbyists is really just outrageous. That ought to be enough to kill the whole deal.
Absolutely, and that's probably just one of many, many such favoritisms or special exemptions and exceptions, as we've seen with Obamacare. It turns into a nightmare along those lines. But you've labeled 5 major problems in your estimation, Phyllis, with this bill.
Well, it starts off with, and the American people are almost united in believing that we really can't talk about amnesty till they first secure the borders. And there's nothing in this Gang of Eight to secure the borders first. Oh, they have a plan to do it later, after they legalize the illegals who are here. Well, if you believe that, I've got a good bridge to sell you, Steve. And yes, and so there are all kinds of things the matter with it. It's going to take jobs away from Americans and give them to foreigners, and the low income people who come in, the high school dropouts, they'll take jobs from our own high school dropouts, and then the ones who are skilled, they'll take the jobs from our college graduates who are having a hard time at the present time. So it's a jobs killer.
And you would think, Phyllis, that that would resonate with Americans, that would resonate in the Senate the way the objection to gun restrictions is resonating in the Senate. You would think that senators would never vote for this because, we keep hearing 2 things. We hear that we need high-skilled workers to come into this country to take the jobs. So there go your high-skilled jobs. And then you need the illegals here to keep the economy running because, and this is to me the most racist argument. Could you imagine if Republicans made this argument? You need the Mexican illegals here to clean toilets, make beds, pick fruit. So I'm just saying we have nobody could find a job now.
No, that's right. And in addition to they're trying to develop another category called lesser skills, and that means so they can bring them in, and they're for janitors, for restaurant workers, for retailers. And those are the jobs that a lot of our higher skilled college graduates have had to take because they can't get a job that the high skills. They want the foreigners. Because they can pay them less.
It is insane. We're talking to the great Phyllis Schlafly, National Chairman of the Republican National Coalition for Life, founder and president of Eagle Forum. Okay, so I mean, we're doing the gun voting as we speak. Last report I heard going into today's session was that far from 60 votes to end discussion, they might get 38 votes. So it doesn't look like that's going anywhere. And you know what gets me, Phyllis? When you hear Republicans say that we have to reach out to the Hispanic community, we have to pass a comprehensive immigration reform. When the Pew Research Center did a poll on Hispanic voters who came out of that voting booth for president in 2012, and immigration reform was like 5th or 6th on their list.
Right, it's 5th in most polls. That's right. And it really, having this amnesty is suicide for the Republican Party because they're going to vote Democratic. And that's why the Democrats are pushing it. And the reason is because they come from a country where there's no tradition or expectation of limited government. You know, you and I want the Constitution obeyed, and we want limited government to get it off our back so that we can be a free country. But other countries don't even have the experience. They don't know what you're talking about. They think government should be there to give orders and solve their problems and give them a handout when they need it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So where do you think this is going to wind up? And what do you think? I love Marco Rubio. I just fear that by him going along with these other senators, and here's another thing, Phyllis. To me, no matter what the Senate would pass, and the Congress would pass, and no matter what would become law, and no matter what the Republicans would support, a month later, 2 months later, or maybe 2 days later, Chuck Schumer and the liberal media would come to the microphone and say, well, this is okay, but we wanted this. And listen, all you Hispanics, we wanted this, but the evil Republicans wouldn't give it to you. So the Republicans will be right back in the same boat, no matter what they voted for, no matter what they helped pass, because they're not going to go along with everything, and the Democrats and the media will point that out, and any quote-unquote victory or reaching out to Hispanics will be nullified.
That's right, and they're going to vote Democratic, and the Heritage Foundation has estimated that this amnesty would cost the taxpayers over $2 trillion. Because most of them would come in low income, and therefore they're eligible for the 79 types of handouts that low-income people can get from the government.
So what do you see happening, Phyllis?
Well, you know, the last time they tried this, it was supported by a lot of powerful people. President George Bush, Ted Kennedy, and John McCain. And we beat it. And we're going to do it again.
I certainly hope you're right.
You can get all the information you need on eagleforum.org.
I was going to say that, eagleforum.org. Before I let you go, I'd be remiss. The exploitation of a crisis is a mainstay of the Rahm Emanuel, the Hillary Clinton, the Barack Obama philosophy, political philosophy, and it goes back to their political mentors, of course. And that's something that Obama has tried to do with this gun issue, and the poor parents from Newtown, bringing them in Air Force One, having one of them do his radio address in tears on Saturday, having them lobby the Congress, and they're going to fail. And Obama's going to fail. What does that say about this kind of tactic? And do you think the American public is wise to what he's doing?
Well, there are a lot of what Rush Limbaugh calls the low-info people, but we try to educate them. They didn't learn much about American history in school and college, but the illegalities of the Obama administration are so gross that I think people are going to have to understand what's happening to our country. He's taking away our free country, our constitutional government, and thinking he can do everything by executive order. And I think right now we want to beat this amnesty because it's crooked. It was hatched in secret, and it's got all kinds of loopholes for the people they wanted to cave into the big lobbyists on.
All right. Listen, Phyllis Schlafly, a pleasure and an honor, and I hope you'll come back.
Okay. Will do, Steve.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Phyllis Schlafly, ladies and gentlemen, National Chairman of the Republican National Coalition for Life, and, of course, Eagle Forum President. And, look, this I know lots of Republicans, lots of so-called moderate Republicans, and especially every rhino in the book, they're for a comprehensive immigration reform. We have to be an open party. We have to reach out to Hispanics. You don't reach out to Hispanics this way. Reach out to Hispanics by securing jobs, economic success, economic security, education, vouchers, right to life, traditional marriage, on the social